There exists a nation in the heart of the Middle East where time appears to have split into multiple parallel dimensions. Iran stands as that enigmatic territory where the world's most mysterious women have mastered the art of preserving ancient wisdom behind veils that conceal yet never silence, where men maintain 2,500-year-old Persian traditions while navigating modern religious structures, and where an entire society operates like a theater where every citizen has perfected multiple personas depending on the social stage they find themselves upon. Today, I'll reveal why Iran has become one of the most fascinating and contradictory countries to understand, while also exposing the human cost of this experience. A lifestyle where millennial cultural wealth coexists with modern political restrictions, where the most educated women in the Muslim world face legal limitations that contradict their intellectual preparation, and where preserving Persian identity is maintained through communication codes requiring mastery in the art of strategic silence. Can you imagine living somewhere women possess intellectual sophistication, rivaling any Western society, yet must express it through symbols and metaphors, where men recite Hafez poetry as secret codes of spiritual resistance, where you can visit Persepolis ruins predating Christianity, then participate in Islamic ceremonies within the same week, and where every casual conversation navigates multiple meaning layers that can be interpreted completely differently depending on who's listening. Iran isn't merely a country, it's a cultural universe where 86 million people have managed to preserve Persian civilization while adapting to geopolitical realities that constantly shift. Yet there's something the few Western documentarians who gain access to Iran will never tell you. Behind that apparent religious uniformity exists ethnic diversity, where Persians, 61%, Azeris, 16%, Kurds, 10%, and a dozen other peoples maintain distinct cultural identities, where pre-Islamic traditions like Nowruz are more popular than official religious festivals, and where the real revolution isn't in the streets, but in the silent transformation of mentalities occurring in universities, Diran cafes, and private family conversations. From Yazd's deserts, where Zoroastrian communities have kept sacred fires burning for 1,500 years, to Isfahan's bazaars, where craftsmen preserve techniques their ancestors developed during the Safavid Empire. From Kurdistan's mountains, where traditional music transcends political borders, to middle-class apartments, where 3 generations navigate between Persian tradition and global modernity, I'll take you on a journey revealing not only why Iran fascinates anthropologists who consider it a living laboratory of cultural resistance, but also the daily realities of living in a country where every citizen must master the balance between authentic expression and social survival. Prepare to discover a society where every person enjoys heavily subsidized university education, an efficiently functioning health system, and social security eliminating extreme poverty, but where these guarantees come with religious expectations and political limitations that completely define your life experience. Also, prepare for the contradictions of living in a country that has preserved the world's oldest civilization while facing economic sanctions affecting daily life. Are you ready to learn what it's really like living in civilization's cradle, where faith and silence walk hand in hand? Because what follows will challenge all your preconceived notions about freedom, spirituality, and cultural survival. But before continuing, tell me in the comments, could you live according to codes where public expression must differ from private convictions and where cultural survival requires mastering multiple forms of communication? Which aspect of Iranian mystery seems most intriguing or unsettling? Hit like if you want to discover more countries where ancient civilizations face modern pressures, and subscribe to explore the planet's most resilient cultures. Share this video with someone who needs to understand there are completely different ways to preserve cultural identity, because this perspective could revolutionize their understanding of resistance and adaptation. To understand why Iranian life is so complex and fascinating, we must comprehend how this country became the guardian of a civilization that has survived Arab invasions, Mongol conquests, and modern revolutions, developing cultural resistance strategies unique in world history. Iranian mentality was born from 2,500 years of standing at the crossroads between Europe, Asia, and Africa, developing survival strategies based on superficial adaptation while preserving deep cultural essence. Iranian men learned that Persian masculinity is defined by mastery of classical poetry, refined hospitality, and the ability to navigate multiple identities according to social context, valuing spiritual wisdom and family continuity over aggressive competition. Iranian women developed sophistication, combining apparent submission with real influence over fundamental family decisions. Traditions explaining why modern Iranian women represent 60% of university students, yet operate within legal frameworks limiting public expression of their intellectual preparation. During the Achaemenid Empire, 550–330 BC, Persia developed revolutionary concepts still influencing Iranian culture: religious tolerance, basic human rights, and multicultural administration respecting ethnic diversity. These principles created mentality that absorbs external influences without losing central identity, philosophy that enabled survival through subsequent conquests. Did you know that Zoroastrianism, the religion founded by Zarathustra 3,000 years ago, established concepts that later influenced Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, such as free will, judgment after death, and the struggle between good and evil? These principles created Iranian ethical foundation persisting regardless of official religion, explaining why modern Iranians can be devout Muslims while practicing Zoroastrian traditions like Nowruz. The Arab conquest, 637–651 AD, imposed Islam but failed to completely Arabize Persia as happened in other territories. Instead, Iranians adapted Islam to Persian cultural framework, developing Shi'ism that emphasizes spiritual interpretation, martyrdom concepts, and clerical authority, resonating with Persian traditions of respecting wisdom and learning. During the Safavid Empire, 1501–1736, Iran established Shi'ism as state religion to differentiate from the Ottoman Sunni Empire, while also reviving Persian art, literature, and architecture, combining Islamic themes with Persian aesthetics. This period created cultural synthesis defining modern Iranian identity. The tradition of tarof, elaborate politeness system, also structures social interactions. Tarof involves multiple meaning layers, where direct communication is avoided in favor of subtle hints, respectful indirection, and ceremonial courtesy that can take hours to accomplish simple transactions. This system teaches Iranians from childhood how to communicate complex ideas while maintaining social harmony. The concept of zarang, cleverness, also shapes Iranian character. Zarang involves ability to find creative solutions within restrictive circumstances, navigate bureaucracy effectively, and maintain personal integrity while adapting to changing political conditions. This skill became essential during centuries of foreign domination and continues today. Persian poetry's influence is also fundamental. Poets like Hafez, Rumi, Sadi, and Ferdowsi aren't just literary figures, but moral guides whose verses provide frameworks for understanding life, love, spirituality, and resistance. Most educated Iranians can recite extensive poetry serving as cultural code and wisdom source. And here's the first secret of Iranian mentality: saber, strategic patience, the belief that long-term cultural survival requires accepting short-term restrictions while maintaining internal authenticity, philosophy explaining Iranian resilience through multiple regime changes. But what will truly fascinate you is how this historical heritage manifests in modern daily life. Now let's explore the real experience. What's it actually like living in modern Iran? Here's where millennial Persian traditions, contemporary religious structures, and global aspirations create a lifestyle literally requiring mastery of multiple simultaneous identities. First, the Iranian social system. In Iran, basic necessities are heavily subsidized. University education costs less than €100 annually. Public healthcare covers major medical expenses, and food staples are price-controlled, making daily nutrition affordable even for families with modest incomes. Average salaries range €200–800 monthly, depending on profession and location. But when housing cooperatives provide affordable apartments, public transport costs pennies, and cultural activities are mostly free, purchasing power becomes reasonable by local standards. Iranian men work in diverse industries: petroleum, manufacturing, technology, agriculture, with job security depending more on bureaucratic stability than market fluctuations. While women dominate education, healthcare, and civil service positions, despite legal restrictions limiting certain career paths. Did you know Iran produces more female engineers than most Western countries, and women represent 70% of students in medicine and science programs? However, women face restrictions in certain fields, like judgeship and some sports, creating an educated population that must navigate between professional capabilities and legal limitations. Second factor, Iranian cultural lifestyle. Iranians have developed sophisticated art of public versus private living, maintaining conservative appearance in public while expressing modern lifestyles in private spaces. Traditional memuni, private parties, function as extended family gatherings where entire social networks participate in elaborate dinners, poetry recitations, music performances, and political discussions that would be impossible in public settings. Iranian women maintain elegant dress codes, combining religious modesty requirements with fashion sensibility, while men participate in dawreh, social circles, where business, culture, and politics intermix through shared meals and conversation. Iranian seasonal lifestyle is also distinctive. The Iranian calendar follows ancient Persian traditions. Nowruz, Persian New Year, in March, involves weeks of preparation, family visits, and traditional ceremonies combining Zoroastrian rituals with Islamic practices. Summer focuses on family travel to the Caspian Sea or mountain regions where different social rules apply, while winter concentrates social life in heated homes where families engage in traditional crafts, extensive reading, and storytelling, preserving cultural memory. Third crucial element, communication culture. Iranians live surrounded by multiple communication layers where direct expression coexists with symbolic language, poetry references, and historical metaphors, allowing complex ideas to be transmitted safely. Traditional music, literature, and visual arts aren't just entertainment, but vehicles for expressing political, spiritual, and personal perspectives that direct language cannot safely convey. And you know what's most impressive about Iranian character? The combination of individual sophistication with collective discretion. Iranians rarely display personal achievements publicly, but maintain elaborate private cultural lives rivaling any sophisticated society. This duality creates people who are simultaneously modest, publicly, yet intensely intellectual privately. Multiple languages' influence is also fundamental. Most educated Iranians speak Persian, Farsi, Arabic for religious purposes, and increasingly English, while also maintaining regional languages like Azeri, Kurdish, or Balochi, depending on ethnic background. This multilingual ability reflects cultural adaptability, defining Iranian survival strategy. Food culture also shapes social relationships. Iranian cuisine emphasizes elaborate preparation, seasonal ingredients, and ceremonial presentation, making every meal a potential social event. Family dinners are lengthy affairs where multiple generations share food, discuss current events within acceptable parameters, and make collective decisions about family matters. Persian garden culture also influences lifestyle. Traditional Iranian gardens represent paradise concepts with water features, fruit trees, and geometric designs creating private spaces for contemplation and family gathering. Even apartment dwellers maintain elaborate plants and small garden spaces connecting them to this tradition. But here's the most complex paradox. This apparently sophisticated lifestyle conceals tensions transforming Iranian society. And here's where Iranian life reveals its most complex side, because behind all this cultural sophistication and social stability exist political, economic, and generational tensions directly affecting the experience of living in this country. First explosive contradiction. Iran produces some of the world's most educated women, while also maintaining legal restrictions limiting women's public participation in ways contradicting their intellectual preparation. Women represent university majorities, but face limitations in careers like judiciary, certain sports, and public performance, creating massive intellectual potential that cannot be fully utilized. This contradiction creates constant tension between individual capabilities and social expectations. Did you know that after hijab protests in 2022, following Mahsa Amini's death, hundreds of thousands of Iranians, especially young educated women, began emigrating to neighboring countries and Europe, creating brain drain threatening long-term economic development? Young educated Iranians frequently feel torn between loyalty to the country that provided excellent education and frustration with social restrictions limiting their expression and opportunities. Second revelation, impacting daily life. Economic sanctions from Western countries limit access to international banking, technology imports, and business opportunities, creating parallel economies where citizens must navigate between official systems and informal networks to access needed goods and services. While basic necessities remain subsidized, imported goods are prohibitively expensive, and international travel requires complex visa processes most Iranians cannot afford. Generational differences also create intense family conflicts. Older Iranians who lived through the revolution and Iran-Iraq war value religious identity, national independence, and cultural preservation above individual freedoms. Younger Iranians exposed to Western culture through the internet expect personal choice, international mobility, and lifestyle freedom that the current system doesn't fully accommodate. This tension affects everything from career decisions to marriage arrangements. And you know what's the most brutal contradiction for understanding Iranian life? Iran maintains elaborate cultural sophistication, technological advancement, and educational excellence while living under international isolation, limiting economic growth and global integration. Citizens develop advanced skills, but cannot always apply them in international contexts, creating talented but frustrated populations. Third, social bombshell. Internet access in Iran is a complex issue where citizens have access to domestic digital services, but limited access to international social media platforms, international news sources, and the global digital economy. This creates informed but isolated populations developing sophisticated understanding of Iranian society while potentially lacking complete awareness of international perspectives. Ethnic diversity also affects daily life in ways outsiders don't realize. While Persian culture dominates national identity, Azeris, Kurds, Balokis, and other ethnic groups maintain distinct languages, traditions, and sometimes political aspirations, creating underlying tensions in unified national narratives. Did you know there exists an extensive underground cultural movement where artists, writers, musicians, and intellectuals maintain alternative cultural spaces, preserving creative expression despite official restrictions? These networks provide intellectual outlets, but require discretion that can feel limiting for creative personalities. Religious practice is also more complex than external observers realize. While Islam is the official religion, Actual practice varies dramatically between regions, social classes, and generations, with many Iranians maintaining spiritual beliefs, combining Islamic principles with Persian mystical traditions, Zoroastrian influences, or secular worldviews. Economic inequality also creates social tensions. While basic services are subsidized, wealth gaps between government-connected families and ordinary citizens create resentment, especially when sanctions limit economic opportunities for the middle class, while well-connected individuals prosper through black market activities. And the most shocking revelation: many Iranian families develop parallel life strategies, including maintaining conservative public appearances while pursuing modern private lifestyles, sending children abroad for education when possible, and maintaining international connections, providing alternative futures if domestic situations become unsustainable. After this deep journey through Iranian reality, we reach the most important conclusion. Iran isn't simply a Middle Eastern country, but a unique civilizational experiment demonstrating how societies can preserve ancient cultural identity while navigating modern geopolitical pressures. Though this preservation comes with human costs, each person must evaluate according to their own values and priorities. The final synthesis about Iranian life is revealing. It's the only country in the world where you can experience what happens when 2,500 years of Persian civilization meet modern religious state, where ancient wisdom traditions coexist with contemporary political restrictions, and where citizens develop sophisticated strategies for maintaining authenticity while adapting to changing circumstances. What makes the Iranian experience unique? It's the only place where you can live surrounded by one of the world's most sophisticated cultural traditions: poetry, art, architecture, philosophy, while also experiencing what happens when individual expression must be carefully calibrated according to social and political contexts. Iranian life teaches that cultural preservation sometimes requires personal sacrifices other societies don't face. The Iranian experience teaches that multiple definitions of freedom exist, that sophisticated civilization can survive under various political systems, and that individual fulfillment may depend less on external circumstances than on internal resources for finding meaning within whatever constraints exist. Is experiencing Iranian life worthwhile? Depends completely on your values, personality, and tolerance for complexity. If you value cultural depth, intellectual sophistication, family solidarity, and spiritual meaning more than political freedom, unlimited personal expression, and unrestricted international mobility, Iran can offer profound life experiences. If you require complete individual autonomy, unrestricted travel, and unlimited career options, it may feel like a beautiful but constraining environment. For men considering Iran, prepare for culture, valuing intellectual achievement, family responsibility, religious respect, and cultural preservation more than aggressive competition, individual recognition, and unlimited personal choice. Iranian masculinity emphasizes wisdom, hospitality, and community contribution rather than individual domination. For women, you'll find society providing excellent education and opportunities for intellectual development, while also expecting navigation of legal and social restrictions that may feel limiting after Western freedoms. For families evaluating Iran, it's an exceptional place for children to receive cultural grounding, excellent education, and strong family values. But limited international exposure and social restrictions may impact children's future opportunities depending on their individual aspirations. For retirees considering Iran, low cost of living, excellent healthcare systems, rich cultural environment, and respectful attitudes toward elderly make it attractive. But political isolation, language barriers, and social restrictions may present challenges for Western retirees. For students considering Iranian universities, Iran offers world-class education in many fields, especially engineering, medicine, and literature, at very low cost, but limited international recognition of degrees and restricted academic freedom may affect career prospects. Iranian life is that unique combination where cultural sophistication meets political complexity, where ancient wisdom guides modern decisions, and where individual growth happens within collective frameworks, prioritizing community stability over personal autonomy. It's proof that civilization can maintain continuity through various political changes, while also reminding us that cultural preservation sometimes requires accepting limitations other societies reject. Iranians have demonstrated that societies can maintain sophisticated cultural life under international pressure, that education and creativity can flourish even within restrictive political frameworks, while also showing that these achievements come with personal costs not everyone is willing to accept. Iran teaches that true wealth might be cultural depth rather than material abundance, that real strength might be civilizational continuity rather than political dominance, and that meaningful life can be found in intellectual and spiritual development, even when external freedoms are limited. What will be our next destination to explore countries where ancient civilizations navigate modern pressures? You decide.